What's good? How you doing? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, for some reason I'm kind of losing connection on my end. I
Uh-oh.
wonder is it my Wi-Fi? I don't know. These things so crazy. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
You
I'm good.
can?
Good to go.
Okay.
I can.
I might need to put on some lip gloss. Lips looking a little dry.
I keep all of this because for the Soapbox Nation Live, I make sure that they get the gritty before content. So whatever we do,
Exactly.
this is how
Yeah, they
y'all
gonna
get
keep
it. This
all
is
of
the
it. Yeah, yeah,
uncut.
yeah.
Yeah, y'all get the uncut version
I love
of this.
uncut on Instagram.
Absolutely.
Um, okay, let me see. I guess.
Is my
Hi.
thing is it dark? Because my it just seems like the Instagram like is it extra dark for some reason.
I don't know.
Let me lighten it up on my phone.
You don't look
There we go.
extra dark. Oh, what do
There
I
we
look?
go.
What do I look like?
Nah, it seems like a shadow, but I just needed to put the light up on my screen.
Okay. All right. Well, can
Yes.
you hold it down for
So
the fort really quick? I'm about to do something. 5 seconds. Okay.
we gotta do look like okay, right. So while she gets ready, I want to let everybody know, hey, make sure you follow us on Instagram for those who are listening to us on the streaming services. Follow us on Instagram at Soapboxx Podcast with two X. That's Soapboxx Podcast with two X. And you can find us on Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, everywhere you can your podcast streaming services, your best ones, your favorite ones. You can find the Soapboxx Podcast on there so you can listen to us while you're working out. You can listen to us at work or wherever you're at. Make sure you listen to our content. We appreciate all of you who have supported the Soapboxx Podcast for so long. So this feature that we're doing here, as you guys have seen on the streaming service, is a little different from the regular Soapboxx Podcast show. What we're doing is called Soapboxx Live. So it's basically quick cut conversations with my co-hosts, and we'll probably chime in with some other special guests down the road as well. And yes, and if you're listening to us live and you have any questions, please make sure you say hello, say hi, or ask us any questions. We're going to be talking today about the manifestation of love. That's what we're going to talk about, and we have my co-host, self-love extraordinaire, motivational speaker, Javonni Hampton here. Doing her thing and going to help guide the shit in the conversation. Welcome back, Javonni.
Okay.
How did I do? How did
Hello.
I do?
Wait. Oh, you held it down. You held it down. I'm still here. I had my AirPods in, so I was listening to everything you were saying. You held it down. Thank
Okay,
you.
good. See,
Thank you for
it's been a
doing that.
little while. We took a little break, Soapbox Nation, but we're back. So we'll be back tomorrow, streaming on Facebook Live and on YouTube. So
Mm-hmm.
make sure you look out for that. Got some folks saying
Ooh,
hello.
okay,
Just
there we
say
go. There
hello.
we go.
Yeah.
Hey, hi everybody who's joining. Definitely ready to have this talk on manifesting. Was it manifesting love
The manifestation of love.
or the
So we're going to be
manifestation of
discussing.
love?
Yeah, so we'll be talking about not only self love, but we'll
Mm-hmm.
also be talking about the movie Malcolm and Marie. And I also want to get your thoughts on. I don't know if you heard about B Simone's comments and what she
I
was saying and how
haven't.
she would. I will let you know all about it. So first up, how are you doing? How's the book going? I want to make sure everybody knows about the book and the things that you're doing. I see that you're out here doing your motivational speaking. You're on panels. You're doing it up. So please give us a brief update.
I'm doing really good. My self-love ebook, I released it at the beginning of January, and I've sold how many copies? To be honest, I stopped counting after I passed 25. Like once I passed 25, I was just like, thank you
You was
God.
good. Okay.
Yeah, I'm good, and not good for any monetary reason or financially, but
Hmm.
good like people are
Receptive.
taking my work, and they want to see what I have to say. And they're also, the goal is to help them grow from it. That's the number one thing. So I'm just grateful that at least 25 people realize that they need to implement more self-love into their lives. So it's
That's
just
dope.
like, all right, that's great for me. And then I've had a few purchases here and there, but like I said, I kind of just stopped counting. And then I released my Pour Into Yourself mugs, which people really love the Pour Into Yourself mugs. Here are the Pour Into Yourself mugs.
Product placement. I like it. Love it.
Here's my Pour Into Yourself mug. And this is actually the mock-up. The actual one is, it's much prettier, I'll say. But that's just my lip gloss. Yeah, y'all don't be tripping. But
we're not gonna send you a stained mug. No,
right,
we're good. We got
you. Yeah. That's just my lip gloss. Don't be talking about what's that on the corner. It's my lip gloss. Nude.
You know how people do.
Lips. Right. So you gotta let them know.
Yes.
But the Pour Into Yourself mugs, I mean, it's the constant reminder to give more to yourself, to love more on yourself, and to whatever you want that pour to represent. I saw this acronym the other day that said, I don't know, protect. The R is for like rebuild, and the O maybe for give opportunities to people, all type of different stuff. So, but the Pour Into Yourself mugs, they've been selling really good. So if anyone is interested, of course, everything is in my bio at Just Javonni. They come with a me time, tea time card, and they also come with tea bags. So it's a great investment into yourself, which we don't do often on things that actually make sense, not like a shirt and sneakers, but an investment to keep you motivated and to keep you feeling good. So
that's really big. So how big are you? Let me ask you this, because we're talking about self-love. How big are you on words of affirmation? Because I'm big on it. Like
it's my love language.
Oh, words of affirmation. Mine's is physical touch.
Really? You're nasty.
I am very nasty. But yeah, physical touch, quality time, words of affirmation, yeah.
Uh-oh. It started breaking up, but am I breaking up?
No, you're good. I can hear you.
I wonder if
am I good?
Yeah, we're good. But words of affirmation, that's number one on my list.
Yeah, it's I think, especially when we're talking about relationships, like it's very important to know. Like when you go through like the hustle and bustle of like the world and whatever, all the world's challenges and adversities that you go through, it's important to know that someone has not only got your back, but like you were saying, pours into you, and someone who actually can recognize your light. And when it starts dimming down a little bit, you know what I mean? They're that person that can ignite that fire, that could say, you know what, yo, you got this. Stop beating yourself up. You've been through more. And I think sometimes even having people in our corner, we have to remember that, I think you actually said this to me. Like you were like, give yourself some grace. Like, yo, like you have to. Sometimes you forget, like during your maturation process of life, how far you've actually come, right? So sometimes it's good to. No, you're good.
Okay.
Good. All right. Yeah. So sometimes it's really good. Yes. Sometimes it's good to know that someone will give you that encouragement to say, hey, you've come a long way. Give yourself some grace. You may have, you've been knocked down 7 times, you get up 8. I think that's really dope.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite sayings now, give yourself some grace. Like on my worst day, I have to be like, okay, give yourself some grace, Javonni. Like it's gonna be okay. Just keep it moving. Think about all the good things that you've done to get here, or all that good type of stuff. And the other thing is, I feel like since we're on that words of affirmation topic, we also just
Absolutely.
have to realize that while words of affirmation may be my love language, that doesn't
Mm,
necessarily mean that that doesn't necessarily mean that another person needs that for them to love me.
yes, very true. Because I've been in situations where, like I told you, my love language is physical touch. And I've been in situations where that's someone's last love language, right? And they never grew up. They never grew up with like being affectionate and physical touch. And I think, me and my, abandonment issues, I think, um, because I didn't really necessarily grow up with a lot of that, it's something that I recognize and I want. And so in my relationship, it's like when you're younger, you kind of make up for the things that you didn't necessarily have. So it's like, okay, that's important to me in the aspect of a relationship. So I think in any relationship, it's about compromise and trying to, meet in the middle. Like for instance, my last one is what is it? Gifts. I'm not buying you shit. You see, you see. But
Yeah,
if someone is first,
but you also don't expect to get gifts.
yeah, maybe the women I was dating they did, but I was like, nah, I'm not. I'm not no, I'm not a big gift giver because I'm not materialistic like that. So I rather spend time with you and make a memory or a moment by doing something, some sort of activity, than just saying like randomly, hey, I saw this outfit, so let me go ahead and just, buy that for you. And that's my appreciation. That's just, like that doesn't compute to me, like in
Mm-hmm.
my way of love. So. But yeah, but I'm glad that we talked about love languages because there was a movie that's on Netflix that everybody's talked about. It was trending, Malcolm and Marie. And so I
Mm-hmm.
want to get your initial thoughts about the movie and what were your first initial takeaways like when you finished watched it?
Y'all, if this eye start blinking, it's my lazy eye.
I didn't.
But
Are you for real? You got a lazy eye for real? You
I
just
do every now and then, like this eye, it'll just give out. Like it just give out on me sometimes. And it usually happens after if I've had like a long day or if I've been staring at the computer for a long time.
Mhm.
Um, it just I don't know, it just be doing all type of stuff. And it's
I like
these
that because this
contacts.
is
What?
I like that this is Soapbox Nation live, so they're getting the real. Like this is not
Oh
a
yeah.
regular show. This is we
Right.
talk about your eye, we talk about love languages, we talk about we need
Right.
lip gloss and all stuff. Like this is live. I love it. And then me with my glasses off, we chilling
I
tonight.
know, yes. I like to see you with your glasses on. You chilling.
Yeah.
That's really cute. But okay, so what was the question?
Your initial reaction to the movie, like after you saw it, like what was
It
your
took
what was your takeaway? Yeah.
it took me up until the part it took me honestly, I had to get through at least a whole hour of the movie. I'll say an hour and a half of the movie to really
Mm.
understand where this was going because at first I was just thinking that it was gonna be a whole tick for tag the whole time, and I thought that the oh my gosh, I didn't even remember names. What was her name in the movie? Yeah,
Marie.
Marie. I
Marie.
thought, yeah,
Yeah.
Marie and Malcolm, right? Malcolm and Marie. I thought
Yeah.
Marie was going to commit suicide.
Mm.
So I was
Mm.
thinking, like, oh my gosh, she's gonna talk down on her, and or she's so disappointed that he didn't acknowledge her. Now she's gonna revert back to her old ways and she's gonna kill herself. Like I was just thinking that's how this movie is gonna end. She's gonna kill herself. And then he's gonna have
Mm.
this heavy burden and the whole movie is gonna be about watch what you say to people and you never really know what they're going through type thing. But
Correct.
then when they flipped the role and Marie laid it out to him, like you don't appreciate me enough to the point where you feel like you don't to the point where you don't say it. So how could
Mm.
you appreciate me and not be able to deliver that to me. Like, are you immature? Are you jealous? Or do you not have the knowledge to know how to communicate with a woman who you love about the importance of being in a relationship? So all said and done, my first reaction once I finished the whole entire movie was everything that she said was completely correct. And it may take a moment like
Everything?
that.
You think everything she said?
No,
okay.
Everything before that last part. No, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, the last part, the last monologue was dope.
The last part. Now, everything before that, I don't know. But her last point that she made was very accurate. And I don't know if that's just I don't know if the roles are reversed sometimes, which I'm pretty sure that they are. But at the end of the day, people really need to learn how to vocalize how they appreciate people and what they've done and say thank you. Once I realize that I'm dealing with a person that doesn't want to say thank you, I'm done. Like you
shut down?
I shut down, and I may bring it up. Like, well, you're welcome. You know?
Like I was waiting for you at the front door?
Yeah, right, exactly.
You confrontational. So you're not going to say you're welcome, right?
No, that's a real thing, because sometimes people feel like by saying thank you, that means that they feel like they don't want you to have that power over them for them to think like you owe them, or I could have did it on my own, but since you volunteered, then it's no reason for me to say thank you. It's just like, no. Now, granted, some people do have bad intentions when they help people, but if you know that person have good intentions, and you know that person has been supportive and they're just trying to be a positive influence in your life, you got to let that baggage go and that pride go to where you too good to say thank you.
Yeah. No. I agree. I think it's very important. No, it's very important that we give people the roses while they're still here. And I think, especially in relationships, I think what was depicted on screen was, especially if we're kind of jumping towards the end, is that when you see people in relationships, it's almost like she's telling you now, but as men, right? And I'll just talk for the men. I saw a lot of my old self in this movie. I'm not even gonna lie to you, because like when you don't realize how much of a jerk or how inconsiderate or how selfish that you're actually being to your significant others until they're actually gone. And so like there's a line in the movie where she says you never really truly love someone until you feel like you're going to lose them, right? And I'm paraphrasing. If I don't get it right, someone I'm sure will tell me. But that's and that's true. And I think and we're not, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen the movie, go watch it. We're not really ruining it. We're having a discussion about it. I think at the end it was very telling when he woke up and she wasn't by his side. Like, I think at the end, that was his revelation. Like, he really, like, at that point, he felt like, oh, she left, right? And then to see her and be like, it was that breathe, like, I got another chance. But in the beginning of the movie, when I first was watching it, I was like, oh, if this was starring TJ and Marie, this movie would have lasted 5 minutes, because TJ took his ass to sleep. I would have ate whatever mac and cheese. I would have looked at her crazy like this, ate my mac and cheese, and then I would have been like, yo, I don't know what you're going through. This is old me. Look, I don't know what you're going through, all right? But all of this is not even necessary, all right? And then I would have just left. But I realize now, as I'm mature and I'm older, that kind of cuts someone off, like their feelings, someone you care about. It's cutting off their feelings, and you're not actually listening. But it did take her a while to get to the core of what was really, truly, bothering her, and how she felt like that that she couldn't tell her story, how she felt like she was giving. And I see a lot of this in relationship, both men and women, we give so much of ourselves to a relationship to other people. And this is goes right back into that pouring into who's pouring into you. Like, I hate the saying, oh, a relationship should be 50-50. Fuck, no, it's not. Right? It's not. A real relationship is 100-100. There are some times where you can only function at 20%, and somebody has to compensate and give you the rest of their energy to pour into you in order to make things actually work. And the fact that people, you know, the fact that she was the one that was always there for him, but he didn't see it from her perspective because as men, right? And we'll talk about men with purpose, right? Because that's what I felt like Malcolm was. Malcolm seemed like he had tunnel vision. He was a man with purpose, and he was focused on his goal. And everything else, including Marie, really came secondary and didn't matter. She was basically not his girlfriend. She was like his assistant, right? And so he was just had this tunnel vision to the point where it was like, all I'm trying to do is accomplish my goal. Tonight is my biggest night, and now that all of this is over, you want to come at me with this on my night, and it's
I
like
get it.
she's looking at it. Yeah, but that's the dichotomy between dealing with a man who's driven in his purpose, and sometimes as men, right, our ambitions can get the best of us, and I don't think enough we talk about that. We don't
Right.
like. Sometimes you eat, sleep, breathe, whatever your drive is. And if you're not making money, if you're not happy in your situation as far as your purpose or know what your purpose is or know what your identity is, then
Mm-hmm.
everything else comes secondary. And I think she fell into that kind of like that trap of, well, where do I fit in your world rather than Malcolm and Marie creating a world together. And I think that's kind of summarizes their situation. But it was entertaining to watch other people argue.
Well, yeah, it was entertaining to watch other people argue, but I do feel like when she expressed to him how she felt,
Hmm.
and then he was like, okay, I'm sorry, I apologize. Um, and then see, this is the issue. This is what happens.
Hmm.
People take debates in relationships and in friendships and all type of stuff. And I honestly feel like we don't always have to take debate. Like he told her, well, if you got an issue, tell me what's on your mind. Tell me what's on your mind. He kept saying, tell me what's on your mind. Tell me what's on your mind. And so then that's when she went in, like, da 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 da, and then boom, we got a whole argument. Sometimes I feel I'm thinking right now because I've been in a situation like that where I felt like I didn't really want to say what was on my mind, but a person was kind of like, "What's on your mind? What's on your mind?" And
Oh, he kept
then
asking. Oh yeah. Oh, not
I'm
me.
now
My
I
what's on your mind?
yeah, it's just like, okay, so now I'm gonna tell you what's on my mind, and it's a problem.
Yeah, I think in the movie she was like, "Oh, you really want to talk about this? Okay, let's go." And
Yeah,
I was, "Oh no, Malcolm, no." I was like, "Bro," when she said, "No, I
right?
want to talk about it,"
It's
I'm
just
gonna ask you
like,
twice. I'm gonna
let
ask
it
you twice. I'm
go.
gonna say, "What's on your
I'm letting
mind?"
it go.
You're gonna say nothing. I'm gonna ask you a second time. After that, you would have heard, which is the Xbox, or
Yeah,
you would have heard PlayStation.
yeah,
You would have heard me
that's the
playing music
truth.
or put some headphones on. Like, yeah.
Yeah, because I've been on both sides to where I push the person to tell me what's really going on, and then of course it happens more often than not when a person is trying to push you to tell you what's on their mind. But and every time it goes left, like it always just goes left. And it's good, yes, I feel like, to address the root of an issue because you want to know the truth. But
Yeah.
sometimes a person may be speaking at that moment from an angry place. So it may have
Yep.
come out different if they waited until the morning to discuss it. Even though they say don't go to bed upset, all that type of stuff. All right, cool. We're not gonna go to bed upset. We're just gonna drop the subject. We're gonna kick it and watch TV Then tomorrow I might still hit you with the BS, you know. But when you
Yeah.
when you do it in the heat of the moment, you're gonna get that raw version. Like, you a effed up individual because I think this and that. And then it's just like, well, sorry, I really didn't mean to say that you effed up. What I was really trying to say is that hurt my feelings. But
True.
I'm angry right
That's
now.
very true.
So this is what I'm gonna say to you, you know?
Yeah.
And we take it, and then we internalize it and process it. I mean, remember that the part where he literally went outside and he thinking, I can't believe she said this. Now I got to figure out what I'm gonna say back. And
Yeah, she cut him. She cut him. Oh, that's the worst thing. When you cut a brother, when you cut a dude, that's the gloves. The gloves are off. And I used to be. Remember when she was like, there's a scene, right? For those who are watching, we'll talk about the movie Malcolm and Marie. If you're listening to the Soapboxx Podcast, follow us, Soapboxx Podcast with 2 X. Listen, when he said that she cut him, and he was like, oh, I'm gonna say this, and he played it in his mind. First of all, they're trying to have a discussion. He's playing music. He's got alcohol. She's smoking a pack of cigarettes. Both of y'all got anxiety. So maybe y'all should have just went to. But it's interesting what you said, because what you're talking about is verbal abuse. And as someone, and I've talked about this, I'm not ashamed of it. Like, when we talk about domestic violence, right? That's what that is. Like, that verbal abuse. And for someone who's got the gift of gab and can talk, like, that was my main source of weapon. Like, it was like, Malcolm knew what her insecurities were. He knew where her weaknesses were. And so when he's fighting and he got hurt, he took the gloves off, and he had what they call it, a hot tongue, where your tongue is like a sword. And he's like, okay, I'm going for the jugular, and I'm really gonna cut you. And she was just like, you know, you're better than me at this, but you're still portraying. And it's like that was one of those things where it's just like, you start thinking back at all the stupid arguments you had in the past, and you're just like, yeah, I really didn't need to say that, because.
yeah.
But that was Malcolm's. But that was Marie hurting Malcolm's ego, and Malcolm, because his ego was bruised, right? And that's the difference. What he did is no different, right? It's no different from a man feeling like his ego is bruised and then smacking her or physically assaulting her, right? Because it still leaves, you may have physical damage, but he still has that emotional damage. And I think, people don't take into account how devastating that can be to someone's self-esteem, their psyche, their confidence and everything. So to see that portrayed on screen and kind of like, watch it like that and just see, you see like, oh, you shouldn't do that. Don't say that. Oh, you're going to regret that, because a lot of times you're right. In the heat of the moment, we're having these conversations, we're having not these conversations, you're having arguments, and then you wake up the next morning and you may love each other or care for each other, but that person will still remember. And she said, like, I'm never going to be able to forget the things that you actually just said to me, right? And so those things kind of leave lingering effects. And for the fellas, right, women check out of relationships long before they leave. So she could easily be like, this could be the precursor for her being like, okay, you know what? Because eventually the things that you're saying to her are going to be so numb where she's going to be like, you know what? She's going to check out. And when a woman checks out mentally, she can be done with the relationship and still literally with you. And then she's out of here. And then you're over here 4 months later trying to be like, look, baby, what can I do to get you back? And she's just like, so old and doesn't.
I checked out in January.
Yep, been checked out. And dudes, we be stuck. We be like, man, what's going on?
But the checking out and dudes not knowing is another point of clarity to how one of the reasons why we checked out in the first place. Because if you don't know that I checked out in January and it's May, and now I'm moving on, and you talking about what's the issue? That's the issue, because you're not you're oblivious to what's going on in my life. Like you chose.
Because you know what we gonna say? You know what we gonna say? So you got ever since you got this little book, right? Everything's got a little
You got
book.
your income tax.
Income taxes. Yeah. Oh, trust me, women are quick. All the fellas who didn't get their girl something for Valentine's Day nights. Trust me, income tax season. When she start acting funny, it's because her money, right? And on the flip side, the dudes who live with their girl, and she be talking to him crazy. Look, when he get his money right and he can get his own spot, he ain't gonna be listening to you and all your BS no more.
Well, I guess the roles reverse. I guess you can flip them back and forth, but
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I think it was. I love the cinematography of the movie. I did love the fact that it was black and white because we weren't distracted by, colors or the things in their house. We were just focused on the actual people who are, Malcolm and Marie, who were having a conversation. And of course, the soundtrack. Love the fact that it was jazz in a sentimental mood. All of those good things. I absolutely loved the movie, and it left you thinking. Like, for people who think that Malcolm and Marie was just the movie Malcolm and Marie on Netflix was just a movie about arguing, they missed it, right? Because they said this is not a love story. This is a story about love, right? And so she was literally teaching him how she wanted to be loved, right? And the fact that he, in his maturation or his pursuit of his goals and his dreams, he didn't take into account not only how she felt, but didn't take into account what her dreams were, right? But I wanted to ask you about this. Did you see, in relationships, is it only natural that there's some sort of competition? Because I can't be in a relationship like that. If I'm accomplishing things, like you know me, like I like to sprint, not run. Like, let's get this fast pace, let's get this goal. You yourself, you're doing your book, you're doing your speech and stuff. Can you be with someone who is not on that same ambitious level as you?
Well, here's what I will say. It's hard to be with somebody if they don't support you. Now, can I be with somebody who is not as ambitious as me? No, because I feel like from a man's perspective, I need a man to lead me. Now, the roles, I believe.
We just lost all the feminist views. She said she need a man to lead her. Lord Jesus. Okay, go ahead.
No, I do believe in gender roles. Don't crucify me, but I believe that a man is supposed to be a leader in certain situations, and I'm not saying that a man should date a woman who is not ambitious, but it's more likely for him to build her up opposed to me trying to build a man up. Now, yes, I can build a man up, but I don't want to. I mean, no.
No, she's thinking true. Welcome to Soapboxx Nation Live. Yo,
that's you don't want to
listen. Women, look, y'all heard it here first. She's gonna try to change it. Women want to be with the finished product. Well, our age, right? Y'all want the finished product. This is like, look, I'm not gonna be with your ass while you trying to get yourself. Remember, like it's the show.
That part back. I am to build my man up completely. I'm a builder.
Okay.
I'm Bob the Builder, the woman version. Okay, but. This is what I'm saying. All jokes aside, this is seriously what I'm trying to say is.
Okay.
All I'm saying is that it's more difficult for a woman unless she is already financially where she wants to be to try to support herself and a man. And I feel like we already, as women, have enough on our plates just because of everything that we have to do. First of all, we have to spend way more money than y'all do to do anything, to go out. We have to the clothes. Not y'all have to buy clothes and get your hair cut. We have to buy clothes, get our hair cut, get our hair done, makeup, all of that. I'm just saying
The maintenance, all that.
It's the maintenance. Everybody know that if you have a son, it's a less of expense than having a daughter. Like, that's just bottom line. Daughters cost more money because they need ribbons and bows in their heads, opposed to little boys who just need sneakers and t-shirt and jeans on. Like, whatever. Girls got to have their hair done. Okay. And you got to hire somebody. So I just feel like it's more on a woman to try to build a man up, and that's not necessarily what we were even. That's not the role that we need to take on. We already done birthed y'all, had y'all, fed and took care of y'all.
You ain't trying to raise your son and somebody else's child.
Yeah, it's just like, when is it going to be our time for a man to really teach us where to build? Because we do all the building from day one. We're pregnant. We have the baby. We take care of the baby. We raise the baby. We school the baby. We make sure that baby is good for society, that child does not, become a statistic or a part of society or locked up in prison. And then it's just like, okay, so what role can the man play? It can't just be the bills. It can't just be the bills. It has to be some.
Yeah, you got to be the protector, the provider, and the cover.
You have to be a protector. You have to be the provider. You need to know how to be the head of the household. If your wife needs you in a certain area mentally, you can support her. We can't wear all the hats. So I feel like the hat that I'm giving away to a man is, if I am struggling in my business or in my career, or if I'm struggling with my ambition, I need you to build me up, because we're already going to do that for you. At least the good women. Now, there is some women, if you lose your job, you're going to lose them. But I'm not that person. So for the women who's willing to stay around for a man who loses her job and helps him build up to where he needs to go, we also need that man. We also need that man. Like, even with me starting my new business, in my relationship, I had to have a genuine conversation with my partner. Like, listen, this is what I'm going to need. February right now, it's getting tough. I don't know necessarily what direction I should go in. My job is draining and it's intense right now because lawmakers are here and they passing bills left and right. I'm working later hours. So I'm going to need what I would normally give to you. I'm going to need you to give that to me. And men have to accept that responsibility and not just only place it on women. Whew.
Said a mouthful. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And that goes back to the whole pouring into someone pouring into you when you don't look at the product placement. Pouring into you when you don't when you don't have gifts. And sometimes, and I think as the worst part about the truth about the Malcolm and Marie movie that I don't think most people want to admit, especially with men, is that we in relationships, we grow into better men in relationships at the expense of other women. Right?
Other women?
No, other women, right? So men, we don't look like it's rare that we learn about who we need to be in a relationship, in the relationship that we're actually in, right? Yeah. So we are fucking up in other relationships for other women, and then years later, right? If you're not with that person, you're like, yo, I'm not gonna be that person who I was. So we're like, TJ, who I am now is completely different than TJ then, but it's like you look at all the women who have, you see what I'm saying, who have basically, pointed things out, you've argued, you've had these conversations where you're just like, okay, now I see what my past relationships are saying, so I'm not going to be like that. So that the next one, okay, now I'm good. And so some people get salty where they want to type, and it's okay. It's part of your growth process. Like, you can't typecast people to say, well, this person was like this with me, so they're always going to be like that. No, unfortunately.
So my question to you would be to what would you say the TJ who you are today to a woman who may have dated the TJ back in the day, what is it does it make sense for women to leave men when they are not ready, or does it make sense for women to stick around?
I think, and here's the thing, if what those women wanted from me in a relationship, I wasn't ready. Even Jay-Z said it was in a song. He was like, look, what Beyonce wanted from him, he's like, you wanted all these things from me, I wasn't ready. He was still immature. Like, I'm not telling people to completely bail on folks that they're in a relationship with, but you have to understand where somebody's at, right? And understand their their process. I like this whole, I say manhood is like manhood is a team sport. Like, it's not just, oh, I just figured it out. Like, no, you have to go through shit. So the thing, I've looked at myself in past, relationships or even situations, and I know that, depending on how I felt as individually as a person, I was extremely selfish and the things that, well, I wanted this. And if it wasn't about me first, then I didn't care with that other person, because in my other life, with the things that I do in the community, I give so much of myself to everybody else. So when I'm in my relationship, I just want to do the things that I want to do. You see what I'm saying? And you should understand that, because I'm giving to all these other people. So you have to be selfless. And that's not entirely true. And it shouldn't be that way. But also you gotta understand the people. All right, I didn't understand how important it was to know how somebody was raised until recently, right? If someone is raised and they grew up in their pathway with arguing, and fighting, and they're not financially stable, and they grew up seeing this in a parent, right? So like, you can't, and I'm a firm believer in this, like, if we're talking about the manifestation of love, like, you have to see certain things in order for you to want to try to achieve it, right? Like, that's why people, like, oh, they see Barack Obama. Barack Obama broke glass ceilings, so that made a lot of young African Americans think, wow, I can have a career in politics, right? You see Kamala Harris. Some women look at her and say, oh, I'm seeing a black woman or a woman of color, whatever you want to call her, like, they're seeing that, so they're like, oh, wow, we can achieve such status. If you want to have a relationship or one day be married, and none of your friends are married, or none of your parents weren't married, and you've just never been around that type of environment, or you don't know what it takes, then you're going to have a hard time trying to achieve it. It's going to be more difficult. So what I did is, when I had to take care of me. I had to, not allowing someone else to take the burden of my maturation. I had to be whole first and understand who the hell I was, my identity, my purpose. All of those things had to be in line before I can say, you know what, I can make somebody else happy. Because if you're not happy within yourself, how are you going to sit there and tell anybody, what, we should be together. I had a lot of ambitions. I had a lot of goals. I said a lot of the things that I'm doing now. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But it's a difference between TJ back then saying them and the TJ right now who actually took strategic steps in order to accomplish his goal. So a lot of times women invest in men who are just selling pipe dreams. And there's two types of men in this world, right? There are builders and there are battlers. A battler is going to tell you all the things he is going to do. Oh, I'm going to be great. Oh, girl, we're going to go on vacation next year. We're going to go this. Oh, I got you. Oh, we're going to do this, girl. Oh, we're going to have a business. We're going to build this empire and stuff like that. And a lot of that is emotion. And a lot of that, women play into that, and they're like, you know what? I'm gonna be this ride or die because he told me we gonna do this and all these false promises, right? But a builder is gonna say, this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it. And then you, as my partner, sees me actively pursuing and taking daily steps to accomplish and achieve those goals. And the most powerful thing a man can be or do is to say something and to do it. Oh, for a woman, we'll be like, oh, he said we were going to do it and he accomplished it. Okay, so we're on to the next one, right? And I think that's the difference between, like, I had a lot of dreams. I wanted to go to Washington, D.C. I was going to be on the Capitol Hill. And I was going to do politics and run the city and do all this Olivia Pope and what's that show? House of Cards. I was going to be big time politics guy, you know, but things fell through. And it's like, it's okay. And I think in relationships, failure is such a negative word. I don't think failure is a negative word, right? You have to fail in order for you to become successful and become the man that you are. That's a part of the maturation process. And so if you're a woman, my advice is, if you're a woman that can't go through that maturation process where if he falls, that you're not going to be there to pour into him or help him up, then that's not the person you need to be with. And for fellas, you don't need to be with that. You don't need to be with a varsity jacket anyway. You see what I'm saying? The varsity jacket is, when I'm the star quarterback, everything's all good. The minute I'm not starting no more, you gone and you out of here. So that's what I would say the difference is. I know it was kind of the elongated explanation, but yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with, you know, if you're gonna, and which brings me to the B. Simone thing that I want to talk to you about.
Oh yes.
Right? Before yes. So B. Simone, right, who, you know, is a comedian and Instagram and stuff like that. She talks about a lot about, queen, manifest this and that, all sorts of stuff. Then she got in trouble. It was controversial because people said alleged that she plagiarized her book. You know, she tried to do a Javonni. Javonni wrote her book where they said B. Simone plagiarized. So people were ragging her on that. So now she got onto social media and she was basically talking about manifesting. And the way she came about it was more of a accusatory, pointing your finger, like, what you doing? You ain't doing nothing with your life. Those Everest commercials. Hey, what you doing, man? Hey, you just sitting on the couch, you ain't doing nothing. Why don't you come here and go to college? Like, it was that type of shit. Like, it was more demeaning, right? Rather than, but I think it's important that people understand there is something called the law of attraction. And I think what she was trying to say, but she didn't articulate it correctly, is what you want, you must become, right? Mm-hmm. So if you are saying, hey, I want this beautiful, loyal, loving wife who, you know, loves, family oriented, and, you know, all these good accolades and great sex, and all sorts of things, well, guess what? You got to become that. Because if you become that, then you would actually attract someone who values those things.
Right.
So, and I think a lot of times in past relationships, I think now, I wouldn't say past relationships. Now, I am more attracted to women who share the same value systems with me than any sort of physical attraction. Yeah, I got to be physically attracted to you, but do you share the same value system? If your idea of Friday night is you always got to go out, you always got to be on the scene, you always, you know, like, we're probably not gonna mesh. I'm in a different space. Like, I'm at the point where if I think you would be a good mom, I'm not even gonna date you. I'm not even gonna date you. Like, that's it. Like, if I don't think, because that's where I'm at. Like, I'm eventually gonna have children and I'm gonna be married. If I don't think you're gonna be a good mom, I'm not gonna be, you know, in a relationship with you. Like, we can hang out.
It's over. Right. Let's talk about we can hang out.
I mean, you go watch a little Malcolm and Marie. You know what I'm saying?
We can watch Malcolm and I guess.
So, but anyway, as we wrap up and we talk about the manifestation of love, do you agree? What are some things that you yourself have worked on that you're like, hey, I worked on this for myself and that brought this opportunity, where you manifested something that was great within you that you didn't have before, but you had to work on it?
Well, I mean, very recently, or even just right now, I feel like I have dedicated time to myself to not put so much pressure on myself. And I feel like that's love. Like, love is knowing like you are a human being just like those same people who don't text you back. And that isn't your fault. Or that doesn't mean that you're the problem in a situation. I feel like for me, I'm such a problem solver, and I'm like a recovering workaholic, to where I started associating everything in my life with my work ethic. So if my friendships fail, that means I must didn't work hard enough in those friendships. Or if I'm not doing good at my job, then I must not be doing the best, I must not be spending enough hours on the job. Or if my relationship is a little rocky, then I must not be showing enough love. And then I had to take a few steps back and say, hold up, like, it's not just you. You're a human being, and if your friendship fails, that doesn't necessarily mean it's your fault. It could mean that the other person may not be receptive to what you're doing. And not only that, I had to realize like everything that doesn't work doesn't mean you failed at it. It's just not for you. And so I had to really give myself enough confidence and enough love to realize like I love myself enough to know that if I'm not the best on Tuesday, that doesn't mean I won't be my best on Wednesday. Or if this relationship didn't work for me, doesn't mean that I cannot cultivate another relationship. Like, I don't have to be this perfect person to where every single person I meet, they love and adore me. It's just like, I had to let that go. Like, Javonni, you can't try to be this people pleaser because you're so attached to like your title and making sure that your name stays safe. And so I really just had to let that go. And now I'm just kind of like, it is what it is. If Monday good, I'm good. Or if this person, they rocking with me, then I'm rolling with them. But if they not, cool, I'm going to just slip and slide, like it's whatever.
Yeah.
But it took a lot. It really did take a lot. So, yeah. And I feel so good. I even feel good saying that out loud. I just feel great.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I think for me, it's always been like, I have to come to the realization that everyone doesn't deserve to be around you. And the minute that people take you for granted, I'm very big on that now. I used to be that person who'd be like, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to stick in there with my friendships and stuff. Okay, like me, I used to, I romanticize things a lot, especially with people who I'm very close with. Right, I romanticize friendships. If they're not the better friend than me, I always kind of look at the bright side. Like, oh no, they've been there. Like, I romanticize a lot of shit. So I've had to snap out of that and really not deal with people in their potential, but deal with people with actually who the fuck they are. Because who they are is not conducive to who I am. And if you're not making me feel good, and if you're not uplifting me in any sort of way, if you're not cultivating our friendship in new ways, and I feel like you're taking me for granted, then I am a very good person when it comes to excusing myself from your fucking table. I don't need to eat. You don't need to. And I tell people, you don't need to eat at anybody else's table. You can build your own. Yeah. And the people that are at your table, and I think that with Malcolm and Marie, when we talk about manifestation of love, if you build your table and you build yourself, well then who's supposed to be at that table? God has already got a place for them. so you don't have to be overexerting yourself, trying to prove yourself to anybody. Just keep building and keep working. And who needs to be there at the end will be there sitting at your table.
Oh, that's it. That's the word. God has a seat for everybody that's supposed to be at your table. Period. Period. And if they're not supposed to be at your table, ain't no seat.
That's it.
No seat.
Yep.
That's a good one.
That's
That's
right.
a really good one, TJ. Yep. I am, when I repost this, that is going to be my caption.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's gonna be good. Yes, and then you can tell people, look, the reason why your life is the way it is, and the reason God can't bless you is because someone's sitting at your table who's blocking your blessing. That's another conversation.
That seat was made for somebody else. Go.
Somebody else, but you hold it on.
But you.
But listen, hey, Javonni, this was a great conversation. Manifestation of love. Shout out to Soapboxx Nation Live. Love these conversations, uncut conversations that we have with our co-hosts and with special guests. So follow us, Soapboxx Podcast with 2X, Soapboxx Podcast with 2X on Instagram, and listen to us on all of our streaming services and our platforms. Show on Thursdays on Facebook and YouTube Live. So check us out. So any parting words, Javonni?
No, I think we covered it all. Well, I would say no, I think we covered it all, but yeah, I would just say to find that love within yourself, and once you do that, like TJ said, you'll find everything else.
That's what's up. All right, for Javonni, for TJ, and for our co-hosts, Alan and Jesse. We'll see y'all on the flip side in the next episode. This is the Soapboxx Podcast Live, Soapboxx Nation Live. Peace.